Meet Eric Rodriguez. He's just like every other 2.5-year-old, but was born with a rare change in his DNA. This is a story of how Eric and his family have faced the rare genetic disorder with grace and courage. It all begins with Eric's father, Walter, explaining the day Eric was born.
Going through chemo, and he was born right in the middle of that. He was born premature, and 31 weeks. Yeah, our neonatologist approached us. We were in the NICU, and he sat with us, and he basically told us that Eric had a very serious condition. When I was in chemo, I would have a lot of time to read, so I read a bunch of articles online, and the footnotes, a lot of the footnotes were this Morton and Strauss. And I would see that repeating over and over again in these studies. And like, Strauss is, where is this guy? So I looked him up. He's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, 4 hours away. But things had gotten deteriorated so much with our metabolic team that the 4-hour drive was worth a shot. So we felt good, so we walked in that day.
I felt such a peace just walking through the door, not seeing anybody or talking to anyone in the parking lot, just walking in, and the sense of stillness and calmness and just a peace that I said to him, I said, it's a different feel here and I feel good.
As simple as people saying, hey little guy, to him, which we didn't have. We didn't even have that. It was so mechanical where we were. And the difference was immediate. So now we actually go in with Dr. Carson. So we're already feeling great and a sense of warmth, right? And caring before we even walk in. Dr. Carson spent 3 hours standing in front of a whiteboard explaining GA1, which had been explained, but we didn't really get it.
Yeah.
We didn't understand it for 6 months with the other team. And he explained it in a way that, you know, was understandable, but also respected our intelligence.
Glutaric Acidemia Type 1, also known as GA1, is a rare genetic condition that is seen throughout the world. We have seen 168 patients over the years, largely because it's more common in the Amish community that we serve. When the clinic first started 30 years ago, GA1 was known as Amish cerebral palsy, and that's because children with GA1 had severe brain injury that resulted in significant dystonia of the arms and legs, leading to trouble with purposeful movements, talking, and eating and drinking. I first met the Rodriguez family when Eric was 6 months old. The family had a lot of questions about GA1, understandably, and we spent a lot of time talking about the different options. We spent a lot of time talking about the treatment plan and our approach to GA1 at the Clinic for Special Children. He was a sweet little boy, and the family is wonderful. They really seem to understand. I remember Walter saying the stakes are high and we get one shot. And that is why, despite them living several hours away, they drove down to the clinic every month during the first year of life, and then every 2 months since then for care.
Dr. Carson said, no, you're his parents. This is what's going on with your son. And what's more, this is what we're going to do to give him every shot at a great life, at a normal life. And so we spent 3 hours with Dr. Carson just feeling, I'm getting a little emotional because it felt like he cared about Eric. And that meant so much to us because we felt respected, cared for. Eric was seen as a little guy, our son. And we drove home, and I just remember feeling for the first time since his diagnosis, for the first time, after 6+ months, that we had hope. And that was everything. It was like a boulder off our chest. And it made all the difference. I mean, our perspective changed completely. I think Eric is thriving, not just because of medications, but also because of the sense that we have hope for him, and we have a positive outlook that we just feel when we look at him and interact with him. And I think that's helped him thrive. What I would say to any parent who's gotten the news, it's going to be terrible, and the emotional reaction is definitely part of the process. And at first, there's definitely a sense of hopelessness, of devastation. You can use those words in your own mind. It's okay to feel those feelings because we were devastated. And the prognosis in our mind was toward the negative, and I think most parents would feel that way. And it's okay to grieve for what you thought was going to be versus what is your reality now. The good news is that there's hope, and the good news is that if you do what parents do naturally, which is care and love and guide and protect your child, you can usher them through.
Since newborn screening and treatment with lyce-free, arginine-rich formula and carnitine, we have seen a significant reduction in brain injury. In fact, 93% of children get through the first 2 years of life with no brain injury, which is amazing.
As you can see, he's a very driven 2-year-old, a typical 2-year-old. He chases his dog, runs around the house, loves his older brother and sister. He just brings so much life into the home. He's just, he's great.
I think that's the best thing I can say. You wouldn't know there's any issue with Eric.
Right.
He runs, jumps, climbs, loves life. He's been all over the room here, just exploring everything, and that's what we wanted him to have a shot.
Eric is a normal toddler. He runs around, he's got attitude, he's super sweet, and that's ultimately our goal. My goal is for GA1 to not define the child, for it just to be part of their life, for Eric, for it to be part of his life. But eventually I want to demedicalize, and so I want them, when he's 10 years old, I don't want it to be that he's a 10-year-old GA1 child. I want it to be he's a 10-year-old child who happens to have GA1. And it's our goal here at the clinic for these children to have a normal life, and so that when they're lined up in a group, that nobody knows that they have GA1.
Our hopes is that, you know, he has a life full of every opportunity that he can grasp with our help. You know, that he can grasp anything that he wants to do. You want to swim? Sure. You want to eat that? Sure. You have a headache? Take some Tylenol.
Wow, yeah, it's
You know?
so normal. That's so normal.
But you know, it's to help to usher him into a life full of every possibility.
Yeah. Have children of his own,
Yeah.
which this condition didn't promise not so long ago. It was devastating not too long ago, and here we have the opportunity to see Eric.
Because of the team, to see this come to pass, where he will be able to see his kids
And live a full life and reach for whatever star he wants.